chemtrails. Okay, I know this. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now. Some people,
Hey, can you bring that tinfoil hat?
yeah,
That's
that's
playing.
right, the tinfoil hat. So there are some of us out there who are like, this is a real thing. I'm seeing it with my own eyes.
Right.
I was pointing out to my mom, hey, okay, watch this airplane. You got these airplanes that are just regular airplanes in the sky, and they're not leaving the trails that stay up there forever. And then you have that one
Yeah.
that goes from one end to the other, and somehow the trail behind it spreads over a period of hours and blocks out the sun and all this other stuff. I am not a scientist. I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not any of that. But I do have eyes and I do have common sense. And I have read a lot of articles about this and watched a lot of videos.
Right.
I want to know where you stand on chemtrails, and so do people out there, because we got this question more than once. So tell us where you
Yeah.
stand on chemtrails.
Well, I tell you, I'm concerned, like I've been saying, about our water, our land, and our sky. I don't want any of them to be polluted.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to know what's being sprayed in our Oklahoma skies. I agree. You look up and they claim it's condensation, but my logic is saying, doesn't condensation dissipate?
Yeah.
These are not dissipating, it's spreading and remaining throughout the day. Then all of a sudden you have a cloud full of what looks to be clouds. But now you got this question, are those clouds? What's actually up there?
Yeah.
And we need to know. And so I would like a study done. I know there's concerns about, okay, if it's a government study, can you trust it? Well, as a person and as a father and as an American, someone who values liberty and health, this is a study I want to do. I want to know. And I think this would be deserving of state resources to conduct this study and find out exactly what's being sprayed and who's spraying it, if anything's being sprayed. But also, there's more than one concern here. There are the chemtrails, and this is really a nefarious, evil action, if indeed it's true, where they're intentionally spraying chemicals that would do harm to our crops and to our health. And I see no benefit to that at all, only harm done. So we need to decide and figure out, is that happening? Next, you have that solar reflection. So the idea Bill Gates has been vocal about reflecting the sun to cool the earth.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to help God out a little bit.
Yeah, God needs some help. Thanks, Bill Gates.
So, obviously those who have bought into the narrative of the world going to burn up, the what is it called? Global warming is what I was
Yeah,
trying to think
global
of.
warming.
The global warming.
I want some global warming today.
Yeah,
It's
today would be
really
nice.
cold.
I think recently they were talking about the icebergs were increasing now,
Uh-huh.
and so now maybe it's going to be another ice age.
Yeah.
But right now, I think they're still on the global warming bit, and in order to curb that, we're going to cool the sun by reflecting the sun. Distributing agents that reflect the sun and doesn't let the solar rays hit the earth. Again, it's part of a narrative that I think is unsubstantiated. And again, what's in these particles? How do they impact us here on the ground? And then you have weather modification.
Yeah.
There, I think there's for those that live in areas that are heavy drought areas, there's a lot of support for the possibility of inducing rain.
Mhm.
And I think that's something to consider. However, you have the God complex.
Yeah.
Are we interfering with nature, and are there unintended consequences? So, but these are some categories. I don't think they all fall under chemtrails. So you have the nefarious spraying of chemicals, you have the reflecting of the sun, and then you have the weather modification that might help to induce rain or snow to obviously help precipitation on the ground. But all of these, I think, have their own concerns associated with them. We need to know what's happening in our own skies.
That's right.
And so I know there are federal regulations that govern the skies. We need to make sure we work with them. And I'm all about state sovereignty.
Yeah.
So if your federal regulations are harming the citizens of Oklahoma, I'm going to have issue with that. And we need someone in this leadership position that will be willing to push back. And I would be willing to do that.
And some states actually have passed legislation about these issues.
They have.
So,
Florida, but then of course you speak to somebody in Florida and they're like, but there's still streaks all across the sky.
yeah.
So how effective was it? Did it target one of those areas but leave open all the others?
Yeah, that's true.
And is it something they can actually enforce? Because if they are saying we're not going to allow it, but then the federal government's saying, well, you can't stop us, or whoever's doing it. Is there teeth in it? Can they actually enforce it?
Yeah. Yeah.